Hi, and welcome to This Week in Baltimore Eating with me, Richard Gorelick. Join us here every Thursday at 12:30 to talk about everything food-related in Baltimore. We are brought to you by Santoni's Marketplace and Catering. Planning a party? Be a guest at your own party and call Santoni's of Glendon for all of your catering needs. Santoni's Catering will handle all the details to create a deliciously memorable event. Call today or visit santonis.com for a fast, friendly quote. Amanda's not here today. Sitting in Amanda's regular seat is Alan Hirsch.
Hi, Richard.
Alan, hi.
It's great to be here.
Oh, my gosh, I'm so glad
totally
you're
flattered
here.
to be here.
You know, Alan, there was some news about you that came out last week. Donna's at Cross Keys closed.
Yeah, that is my understanding, yes. And it was I was really flattered at how much attention it got.
It was the last of the Donnas.
Yes.
And at one point, if you're from Baltimore, you know that there were Donnas. There were a bunch of Donnas.
Yes. We had the nickname probably in 1995 of Mick Donnas.
Yes, I remember. Remember someone did that to a coffee mug I had, or I remember seeing that. Anyway, there were Donnas in Columbia,
Yes.
Charles Village, inside other buildings.
Correct.
Like
inside
University of Maryland.
Right, and then we were inside 4B Below bookstores, and when they went out of business, that was tough.
Right, that was rough.
Yes.
But the original Donna's was called Donna's Coffee Bar.
Donna's Coffee Bar.
At first.
This was before Starbucks was in Baltimore.
Yes.
And I was telling somebody recently about the evolution, and we opened it up, and we had this idea that we would have a few sandwiches and salads, and we'd sell coffee. And we didn't know any more than that. We had no plans to serve dinner until the first night when somebody came in and said, "Hey, can I get dinner?" And Donna hesitated for a second and said, "Sure." And she sent somebody down the street to get pasta, and she whipped up a sauce, and we were in business.
Those sauces, Amanda and I were just talking about, let's go back to 1991 and the food scene in Baltimore. And I'm not making this up, but absolutely the idea of dipping good bread in olive oil that was seasoned was a new thing. It was a new thing.
We were the first place in Baltimore to do it. And I mean, a lot of the things we did were firsts.
Roasted vegetables, which
to this day, not many people do. It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. And remember, memorably, the Donnas in Mount Vernon did not have maybe the most advantageous exhaust system. So there was
you mean none?
None.
And also, I'm sure you'll get to the bathroom eventually too.
Oh, well.
Do you remember we won an award from the city paper?
No.
Yes, it was. I really remember it fondly. We won Best of Baltimore, most humiliating bathroom experience.
Why was that? I don't remember.
Because to get in the bathroom, it was in the hallway, and you had to get a key. So you had to go to the register and say, "Please, can I go to the bathroom?" and get the key.
Oh my gosh! Now I remember, and the key was always attached to something whimsical or big.
Big, so
like
it wouldn't get lost.
Right. And but those things would get lost, so it would be attached to something new and different. But gosh, you really have to believe us. Believe me, if you don't believe Alan, how important Donna's was.
Thank you very much.
To the food scene, and just as a gathering place, especially for me, the bar, the counter.
Right.
Where 1991 people could sit.
Do you remember any of the bartenders from back then?
Oh my gosh!
Who do you remember?
Yeah, remember Tony?
Yes.
Tony Leffler?
Yes. I just saw he just sent a condolence online when we saw it closed. Do you remember Sharon?
Yes.
Sharon, I'm Facebook friends with her, and I saw her, I don't know, about 5 years ago.
I ran into, just the other night, to Kathleen
McCullough? Yes.
Who grew up. She grew up at
right.
Donna's.
Right. I saw that picture of her from a long time ago.
That was a beautiful.
It was an incredible picture.
Photograph.
She's beautiful, and wow, that took me way back.
People photographed really well. Remember Tom, the artist?
Tom Everhart. I guess, boy, I was thinking, do I have any memories of Donna's? I guess I do.
Oh, I have a lot of memories of Donna's. Sitting outside of those tables, because Donna's was one of the first places in Baltimore to put tables outside.
That was also, we were probably second. I think Henry and Jeff's, the deli,
oh my gosh,
did it. But in Harbor Place, they were doing it. But outside of Harbor Place, I think we were it.
Yeah, because Harbor Place wouldn't, not saying it wouldn't count, but that's right on the water with places that were like patios. But Donna's
just put it on the sidewalk.
it's hard to think of how new all of that was.
Restaurants really play an important part in the development of a neighborhood. One of the nicest compliments I ever received was an older couple that lived in that nice big building just south.
Washington Place.
Washington Place. And they came by and said, we feel so much safer going into our building at night because you're here and you have people on the street.
Well, it's the whole Jane Jacobs
Yes.
philosophy of what makes a city neighborhood vibrant when some other neighborhoods aren't, and it's people on the street, and
Yes.
it's things like cafes.
And we didn't know that when we were doing it, but again, something else we discovered. It was very satisfying to help the neighborhood thrive.
So, at the risk of repeating myself, I'll just risk it. It was, you can't tell the story about the evolution of dining in Baltimore without talking about Donna's.
Thank you.
You can't. And Donna's famously couldn't be reviewed in the Baltimore Sun for years
Which
and
was
years
a
and years.
major source of aggravation. I went in person to one of the senior editors who blew me off. He wasn't honest with me, and I shall not name him.
Oh, name
But I
him.
was very... No, I better not.
You better
But
not.
it was... Yeah, that was... We felt that
we
was
should
very
explain
unfair.
why.
Because Donna... I came from the city paper. I started and sold the city paper, and Donna was also in the business. She was the art director at the Baltimore Sun. And at a certain point, one of the editors said, well, we can't have... And Elizabeth Large... who was then food critic and ultimately became their first online food blogger.
Oh my gosh.
Was one of Donna's closest friends, and she, not many people know, she made the match. How do you say it in Yiddish? The shidduch. She did the shidduch between me and Donna.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Oh.
Not many people know that. So that's why she wasn't necessarily going to review us, but they wouldn't let anybody review us.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But Elizabeth was a very important person. She put me and Donna together. I played tennis with Elizabeth, and Elizabeth was very good friends with Donna from work.
I didn't know that no one could review.
Right.
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
Right.
Elizabeth and her blog. Oh my gosh.
Right.
Dining at Large. Just, that's a whole... We should have Elizabeth come on.
You
the show.
should. You should.
She was very kind to me when I stepped into her elegant shoes.
Well, I thought it was going to be tough to follow her because their Dining at Large was a big success, but you did it. And I'm not saying that just to flatter you.
Thank you.
It
I
was-
never thought I'd...
I
My
think you-
editors told me I didn't. but-
No, I mean everybody followed you online in a big way.
Oh, that's nice to hear, Alan. Let's just touch briefly on the last night. And you were there?
I was there. The last weekend, we announced the closing, and we weren't prepared for the, the outpouring of love and support. It was a wildly busy weekend, and we hadn't prepared for it, but people like our chef, Ian Stanford, just rose to the occasion. We did a lot of our employees said, sure, we'll come in and work extra. And we were just packed from Friday afternoon through Sunday night when we closed.
That's heartening.
Yeah, it really was. And it was...
And bittersweet, I guess.
And this is great being on, a Jewish media, because what I was literally telling people, I said, this is like running a shiva. People were coming in to pay their condolences. And I would tell Jews and non-Jews, everybody understood. I said, you've come to this shiva. They said, that's right. They all got it.
They all got it. They all got why it was important to pay.
Right. And
to stop by.
People, like I said, I dropped everything. I said, we have to eat there. So that was pretty incredible.
And so 1991, I'm 27 years? Is
20,
that?
I think we actually opened in 92.
Oh.
So we just had passed our 26th anniversary. So all
Gee
of Donna's,
whiz.
and we were at Cross Keys for 19 years, which it's very sad closing, but you have to have perspective. A lot of people said, I'm not in mourning. It's congratulations.
That's,
You were here for 19 years, and that's how I look at it. But, the facility aged, our customer base to a certain extent aged, and we would have had to sort of dive back in and redo it. And I felt it was very tough, but I felt this was the right thing to do.
You said, I think, maybe a variation of that same quote, or maybe I read it differently. Restaurants grow old or restaurants age? They do.
We did. And some managed to do it and sort of reinvent or just move on to the next generation.
And then there's a 1 in 100 restaurants that are like a prime rib that
It's an evergreen.
Right.
But my sense is they probably had a period. They went through a a period when Ruth's Chris was opening for the first time. They probably went through a period where business wasn't great.
And they've also changed more than we think they have.
Right.
It's very subtle.
Right.
But they do.
Well, which is the key. That's the way to do it, to their credit.
They've reformulated rooms, and it's not exactly a replica of what it was. Alan, what's next?
Funny you should ask. So this is breaking news, on
news.
your show. So I was a little bit, I made it on time, but I was almost late because I said, well, it takes me 15 minutes to get to your studio until I realized I was not at Donna's anymore. So I am taking over the management of Palio, Palio, an Italian restaurant in Owings Mills. I started yesterday. We are bringing our chef. We have brought Chef Ian Stanford, who will really, it was a very solid place to begin with, but we're going to make it even better. We're bringing a lot of the servers, some other cooks, and I just couldn't be more excited about it.
That's great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Palio.
Yes.
Palio.
I-O.
And, Owings, tell people where that is in Owings Mills.
Owings Mills. It's right next to Wegmans.
Oh.
Literally. Between Bar Louie and Wegmans. In Foundry Row is the name of the center.
Foundry Row. Okay.
Foundry Row.
So
it's easy to get to from the city. You just get off of 795. So it's 20 minutes from Donna's. It's 24 minutes from your studios here. I can tell you that.
That's great. Tell me about Ian is just starting now?
He's just starting, and he's going to find his way. We're going to keep a lot of things that are successful in the menu. We're going to add some other items that I'd say to lighten some of the menu up, make it a little more Donna's friendly.
Right.
We'll probably have some of the dishes that were on Donna's.
You will?
But I think I'm challenging him and saying, let's do new and exciting things. So it's going to be a lot of Italian comfort food and pasta and great pizza. But it'll be, rather than just pull things from Donna's, I'd like Ian to create new things. And I think he's up for it.
Yeah. And Ian, before he was at Donna's.
He was the opening chef at the wine market. He did a great
of course.
job.
Yeah,
He's really worked. He worked at Soda Sopra. He's really had he's worked on a lot of Italian restaurants. He's worked under Donna for forever. So he's going to do a great job.
Well,
I'm really
that's great. Congratulations.
very excited about it. Really like the people there. I've met a lot of the staff, the management. They really are giving us a free hand to make it in the best Italian restaurant we can make.
And once again, just as a reporter, what is your role there? Or
I'm the general manager.
Okay.
And my job is to make it a better restaurant, build the sales, make it an exciting place. We want Owings Mills. The genesis is interesting because I ate there and wasn't completely happy with my meal. So I contacted somebody who put me in touch with the company. And I said, you are in a great market that has no good casual dining restaurants. I said, you have Linwood, which is wonderful. You have Ruth's Chris. These are places that are $80 a person. There's not an everyday eating place for people to go out to. And it's just a screaming void. So one thing led to another, and I'm going to be running it, and they're going to see what I can do.
That is great, because how could that be the state of dining in Owings Mills? It never made any sense.
It's been that way for as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
When we had a Donna's in Pikesville inside the Bibelo store, that was possibly our most successful store. On a per foot basis, as we do in the industry, it was $1,000 a foot. It was wildly successful. We had lines, I'm not exaggerating, at midnight. You don't have lines at midnight almost anywhere in Baltimore. So to have them in a suburb in Pikesville was incredible.
Because there never was, we're talking about a very strata of dining have changed all the time, but that kind of I hate that, but upscale casual and where it's a nice place and you get some variety for the menu and things are prepared. Yeah, was always hard to find.
So I live there, and occasionally my wife and I say, where can we go to eat? And there just aren't many options. So that was the genesis behind it, and I'm confident we'll deliver on the promise.
Oh, I've got to do a plug. If you just got here, you are watching This Week in Baltimore Eating with me, Richard Gorelick. Like, share, comment, and follow us at #JMoreEating. We're not going to see your comments until after the show's over. but we'll respond to them then, both of us.
In depth.
In depth. Say lovely things about your lovely memories of Donna's. What was your favorite dishes there? Man, those roasted vegetable sandwich. If I had $1 for every one I had. On the olive bread. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that olive bread. This Week in Baltimore Eating is brought to you by Santoni's Marketplace and Catering. Visit them online at santonis.com. I'm here with our old friend Alan Hirsch of Donna's. What else is new? So we've been talking about the changing restaurant business. What else can we say about that and how it's changed in the past 25 years?
Well, I think we're in a particularly interesting, good and bad
Yes.
time for restaurants. As you know, a lot of restaurants are closing. I frankly don't think it's just a Baltimore City phenomenon. There's something going on in the industry, and we'll probably all see it in a year or two, like, oh, but restaurants, it's just become more and more competitive. I think part of it is that so many restaurants open. People can open restaurants. There's not a lot of other local retail that opens.
You were saying that.
Was quoted in that, and I
It
think
makes
that's
a lot
part
of
of
sense.
it.
Yeah.
That you can see what's happening in the malls. The big redevelopments in malls are anchored by Cheesecake Factory and the Chinese concept that's in Towson. That's the new anchor. So those places are drawing a lot of restaurant customers. So
And there's only so much labor to work.
well, that is going to be an issue. Is for the longest time post the recession in 2008, 2009, nobody left. Because people couldn't get other jobs. And now that about 2 years ago, people started leaving, which we're always happy for because they're moving on into careers. But it's going to get tricky.
And reading about someplace like San Francisco, where because the labor force simply can't afford to live in the city,
Right.
they've had to reinvent restaurants to
I can't imagine how restaurateurs do it there.
They've had to sort of redesign the whole idea of what a restaurant is, and it's a lot more of we go into the restaurant and we go up to the counter to order, and they bring us
Right.
our food, and it's not necessarily fast casual. It's something that's a new hybrid.
Yeah.
And it doesn't sound.
I'm not crazy about it.
Me neither. But
The center we're in the Foundry, this will sound derogatory, but I'll say it anyway. The usual suspects of fast casual. There's Panera, there's a Mission Barbecue, there's Chipotle, and everybody knows what those are. And you go up, you counter, you spend $9 or $10, and you get a meal. You're going to come into Polio, and you're going to be able to sit down. You'll be waited on, and it's going to be reasonable.
waited on by someone who recognizes you
Yes.
from time to time and knows what you like.
And if you
makes
came to
feel
Donna's a lot, you'll really be recognized by a multitude of people.
That's great news about the staff of Donna's.
Yeah, that was a very important issue to me, that I did not want to close Donna's and put a lot of people out of work. And we're really able to take a lot of people, and I was able also to place some people in other jobs. I had other restaurants, which was very nice, but it was also self-interested. Miss Shirley has called me and said, hey, we want to help your employees. And the Village Square Cafe, and they're lovely people.
Nice to hear.
It was great, but it was good for both. So it was very easy to say, you know what, you don't want to come to Polio with me? I've got this other opportunity for you.
That's good to hear. The business in Baltimore.
Two of the people were employed on the Monday, the day after we closed.
Always like to hear that.
It was great.
Just so people understand what's happening with your now former partner, Donna Crivello.
Donna has been executive chef at Cosima, which is very close to where we are here.
Yes.
In the Jones Falls Valley, and she's running that, and people can certainly see her there.
And you're no longer.
I haven't been involved with that for over a year.
Just want to make that clear to people.
Thank you. And yeah, so we're still around, and still very. I think speaking for Donna as well, we're still both very excited, engaged about being in the food business. We love the people part of it. We love making people happy.
That's what we're here for. That's why restaurants were invented. It's what I always think is
Right.
people like people.
And it's
People
the
like to
social
be
the
around
social
other
piece
people.
is critical.
You know, when we had readers of Dining at Large, a common comment was, I could make that at home, which was maybe true, but irrelevant. It's just irrelevant when you're talking about
Right.
restaurants. It doesn't matter whether you can make it at home. You're not at home.
Right. People would say that about the Donna salad. I would always say, go ahead. If you have an extra 4 hours
And a sheet pan,
and multiple sheet pans,
because everything at a different
different temperature, you have to, it was the Donna salad. I think it was a 3 to 4 hour. For us, it was a 3 to 4 hour prep time.
Honestly, I think that the people that I worked with at the Walters Art Museum had combined before Donna's in their life one artichoke heart, and suddenly it's artichoke hearts every day.
Well, Donna really, she opened my eyes to a lot of those things too. One of my favorite memories is pre-opening. We had this six sandwich menu and some salad. There were 6 sandwiches and about the same number of salads.
The tuna,
right,
with capers.
The turkey with roasted red peppers and tapenade.
God,
boy, it's amazing the way this stuff all comes back.
Yep.
But I said to Donna, well, we're going to have potato chips to go with it. And she just blew it. You're like, what, are you crazy? And I was like, what, are you crazy? You got to have potato chips to go with your sandwich. And she said, no, we're going to do something else. We'll just roast potatoes. And I thought it was just a terrible mistake. And she was beyond right. And people, so much just at the end of the first day was laid to rest. It's just, oh, wow, she was really... So that was a big one. That I said, oh, I got to trust her instincts on a lot of things. She knows the food, and if she thinks people like it, they usually do.
And it was good coffee. It's so funny to think about, and it's... I feel like we had to keep...
Yeah, back in those days, Donna's,
thing.
we got all the best coffee awards because there were no other coffee purveyors or awards.
And there was no Starbucks in the city.
Right.
They're just
so we educated a lot of people and introduced people, and they were really receptive to it.
I'm going to cry if we keep going on. Alan, it's been such a pleasure having you here.
Well, I really appreciate it.
And we're going to be, both of us, Alan and I, looking for your comments. We'll delete them if they're not nice, so don't even bother making them.
That's why I came on the show, because I knew you'd take care of it.
We have no time. We have no time for negativity, or even, or like, if you feel compelled to say things like, well, no, don't say that. Just want lovely, positive comments always. Thank you, Alan, for being here. You've been watching This Week in Baltimore Eating with me, Richard Gorelick, sponsored by Santoni's Marketplace and Catering. Thank you, Glenn, for a good show. We're done.
Thank you, Richard.